Hello everyone, this is Blender Guppy. In this video, we're going to use the Final Cloth for a blend project. So I'm going to do a or remodel one of the things I did, the hanging cloth that's derived from a cylinder using gravity. So I'm going to demo that and also the fluff, the way you can achieve fluff. So by default, the operator actually gives you already the fluff effect if you test it on a face, but you have to increase the resolution for that because the physics requires points to work on, and the points are represented by vertices. So we have this fluff, and we can also use gravity to simulate the floating the curved effect, like this one. So I'm going to remodel that and also combine it with the fluff to create a single set that we can array or use array to duplicate, use the array modifier to duplicate when the model is finished. So let's start with the base geometry, cylinder. If you rotate your object in object mode, be sure to apply the rotation because some of the operators are affected by the rotation, the unapplied rotation, and the scale. So make sure to apply your rotation and scale. It's Control A. You can apply rotation and scale at the same time using this. Don't apply all transforms because if you, for example, the object is here, and if you apply all transforms, then the location of the object will reset to the center of the world, and that's 0, 0, 0. Okay, so just use this. So I rotated it this way. So rotation and scale. So we don't have any weird um, reactions from the or behaviors from the random operators. Okay, so this is going to be the curve, and this is where our fluff is going to be. And auto smooth. And I'm going to mirror this using this. This is going to be the real geometry. X, Y, and Z. Okay. So the fluff will be mirrored. However, the curvature, we need an asymmetrical geometry for that, meaning that we don't need to use the mirror because it won't work with mirror. The object needs to be whole or asymmetric. Okay, but we're going to extract that. But instead of using a creative flows extract, creative flows extract results with the faces being using a solidify modifier. So we're just going to use the extract faces of random flow since it doesn't use the solidify modifier. So what I did there is the select loop, shift out, um LMB. Yeah, left mouse button. Right mouse button is for removing. Okay. Wait. Actually, let's not do that. Actually, let's just apply the mirror first. Let's not do the mirror. Let's do the mirror later on. So apply the mirror, apply mesh, and then um, use this asymmetrical model. So after we do the curving cloth because of gravity, and we're doing the cushion or the fluff, then we're going to use the mirror. But first, let's not use it. Okay. So because of the amount of faces involved, let's try and slow. Try and be careful with the cuts. So I'm going to use control middle mouse button up, rolling it up, and control middle mouse button, rolling it down to control the values. Okay, now I'm going to remove the selected. I'm going to increase the gravity to something like 4. And subsurf. Subsurf is put after all the physics, and this is a modifier. Okay, so that's our bendy cloth. So what if we reduce the pressure to 0? Oops, we need a little pressure. So for the min and max values, if you make the minimum higher than the maximum, don't worry about it. The script will use the higher values between the two as the maximum. So if the minimum is higher than the maximum, if you the script will use the minimum then as the maximum. So no need to actually worry. No need to actually worry about making sure that the max is the max. Let's find something that looks good. Let's try object collision. So my version is different than yours because I'm updating the add-on constantly, but most of the properties I'll be using here, you already have that, the object collisions, the collide source. The one thing that you don't have is the self collision and this new UI here. But basically, you also have uh, the thickness you don't have as per this video, but you have quality and the object distance. Okay, so self collision. We're not gonna use self collision because you don't have that, and I'm not gonna use thickness because you don't have that as well. And but this is actually just um for the collision modifier that the objects are using. Okay, and that the collision objects are using. Okay, looking at this from the top, let's use the cuts. Okay, probably not. Negative 0.25. Mass is 0.5. 0.5. Oh my god. That's what's if then? Wait, actually, let's use let's put something on the inside. Like a mechanism. This is just a proxy. Okay. Let's put something on the inside. Cylinder and align to view. That and like that. Okay, so selecting all the objects and then making the cylinder the active object, or you can just manually select them, but make sure that the source object that you're going to use for the panel cloth is the active object. So selecting everything and then making sure that the cylinder is the active object. So the thing is how it this is how collision is activated using the operator. The other object selected will be used for collision by the source object. And the source object will be used as collision too if you activate collide to source. So if you activate this and use the previous last, there we go. We have, you can see that it collided with the geometry on the inside. So one, collide to source. Distance to object is 0.005. Oops, 0.015. It's the increase the mass, making the mass so it makes the vertices heavier. As you can see, we have some really distorted. So we have to fix that. It just takes some time to playing around with the values for 2 gravity. Okay, and increase subsurf level. Let's see, we get some distortions, heavy distortion on the side. I don't know what the. Oh, maybe it's collide to source. No, it's not. Oh, it is. Okay, collide to source. Let's activate self collision. No, collide to source. And let's see, 0.05. Looks good. It actually looks good here because we managed to simulate the inner stuff using just primitives. But we have this but if I'm just using it for concept art, I can just hide the mistake with another geometry. But let's actually try and fix it. How about we adjust, we lower the quality? Nope. How about 10 quality? Increasing the quality will increase the accuracy of the physics, but it will, of course, punish you with a uh, slower operation, or it will lag the operation as you change the values of the properties. Okay, so maybe the frames. No, how about 15 frames? So the frames means that you are using 15 frames of animation to be to bake the physics. So I'm just using 10, increasing it to something like 50, of course, depending on your subdivision, and the other values will of course take a longer time versus compared to a lower value. Okay, let's deal with this. Maybe it's the shrinkage, or we can actually use the code C. There we go. So if The randomization happens with these only with the values that has the min max properties. If they have the same values, then there won't be any randomization for the mass, for example, because they have the min max has the same values. The randomization between happens if the minimum and maximum uh, property values have different values, have different numbers, because then those numbers in between are the ones that are being randomized. So for example, shrink has negative zero point 0.1 minimum and negative 0.25 maximum. So values between zero point 0.1, but oh yeah, zero point 0.1 value and values between um, that and the maximum will be the ones that are randomized. Okay, so we can actually let's use other. Let's increase the subdivision. It will look different. Now you see that the physics looks different because there are more points to actually play with. So uh, the look of the final result of the physics can also you can also use the subdivision to affect the final look of the physics. So let's reduce the amount of vertices it can play with. Easy number 2. There we go. So the subdivision doesn't just, you know, subdivide this. It increases the amount of points that the physics can play. So let's deal with this. And let's remove this. So we get this geometry here. So this is real geo. Process is destructive in order to bake the process is destructive in order for the script to not use animation when showing you the effect. For non-destructive, you'd have to use animation. As you can see, the results that the operator is showing you is instant, because baking those result from the bake frames is also kind of instant, but it works in script and it looks like it's in instantaneous, but actually it's baking the script. Part of the script, it's actually baking the physics. So we have the subdivision here. This is the oops oops the subsurf level. This is the only modifier that is kept, and it is up to you to apply this or remove it. Okay. Okay, so let's look at this, smooth it out. Looks good. And I'm going to save this as demo 02. Okay, now let's go for the fluff, and let's use the mirror. Okay, the fluff. Okay, and let's restore to the default. Let's make the resolution, the topology. If let's add more um edge loops to make the our topology, um to add more quads to our selected faces, because because the subdivision or the physics reacts more correctly or better with this kind of resolution or topology. So there's our fluff. So pressure, kind of like puffing air into the, so the shrink. If you decrease this, you can actually uh, if we remove selected and decrease this and decrease the pressure, I should no. Let's see, decrease the pressure. There we go. So that's why I added the remove selected to let you. The remove selected. I do you have this? I think you don't have this. So we did use it for this. So if you don't have it, um, just delete the geometry afterwards. Okay, I didn't remember. This is actually a new one. Okay, so sorry about that. To so let's not use that. So for the earlier one, just make sure that the um you delete the topology afterwards, so you get this effect. So you get this result. The only disadvantage is that you can't see the result while you're but you can while you're doing the redo panel, you can press Shift Z to actually see what's going on, partly see what's going on inside the cylinder. So this will be for the next update. I'm just optimizing stuff before I release it. Okay, and so let's not use remove selected anymore because you don't have it yet. Okay, and let's see. No gravity. Okay, now we have our fluff, and that is our section. So if you actually don't like what you have, you can just delete it and repeat the process after. Now let's make it more fluffy. More pressure. Then there we go. Like it's really fluffy. Now let's deal with uh details. Um and this one. So for this one, I'm going to use a random loop extrude and 3 layers. Clip center to clip the center line. Go. Increase the resolution and decrease the island size. So probably something like 5%. And make sure there's a bit of difference between the min max. Oh, this is max. The top one is maximum, so we don't get this kind of. Actually, this doesn't matter if they share the same material. But I'm just gonna raise the first layer up to 30 maximum, and second layer to 27. Okay, so you can actually this better result when using the randomization. Okay, let's increase it more. Let's increase the loop one layer some more. Be careful with the subdivision. This subdivision comes after this. This subdivides all of them, and then you can use this after to individually subdivide each loop layer after they've been subdivided using this. This is the base cut. Okay, let's get rid of the bonding using limited dissolve. But we have that. But you know, you can also fix that later. So 2% is the third layer. You can turn it off to watch to to see where it is. Turn it on and off. There. This is the. Let's try and give it 2% as well. With layer 2 as 5% or 4%. So I'm just looking for something that works or that looks good or that looks functional. That looks good and also looks functional. And with less distortion. Yeah, I think we can use this. For some parts that you don't like, you can actually delete it. Press L, XF, or close A. You can model it further. Let's just fix the topology first. 0.01 to make sure there's no doubles. There we go. And you can manually model it and create some more details to make it less primitive. Oops. There we go. To make some parts less primitive in the eye. So like this one, we're going to the topology has been reduced. Initially, this is actually quads, but we used because of the bonding, we use limited dissolve to turn it into ingons. But we can quantify it back quite easily using uh, grid project and quad slice. And just adding stuff here. There we go. So it looks less. And for the other parts, so the weakness of quad slice is for this one right here. It works on straight directions, but for this, with the vertices actually curved on a single plane, uh, you can. I actually used it for this one, but you know, slowly and in parts, and using the rotation property to align stuff and the distance to merge stuff. So it's not as direct as using it with something like this, for example. Oh, it's because it's using 0.005. There you go. So it's not as direct versus that kind of topology. Okay, let's move on. This one I'm going to use loop extrude as well. So this represents the kind of represents the inner mechanism. Let's add another layer, the fourth layer, and increase the inset depth, and then we can increase the size to something like that. So this is the big part, and underneath is the smaller mechanism. Let's open up the islands as well by increasing the inset thickness, but don't overdo it. It's not the same as random panels. So distance increase to get rid of the split in the middle, in the symmetry line. There we go, and going to look for a more. There we go, and let's see. Okay, that whoa, actually looked good. And as for this one, the operator needs the random operator needs either quads or tries in order for the subdivision to work, or in order for it to work. But for this type of topology, of course, it doesn't work. As you can see, there's no pattern. There's no pattern developed. We can quantify it using quad slice, or someone pointed out a grid slice. Yes, but I have to apply but for this topology in the center line, I have to apply the mesh, get rid of the mirror modifier, get rid of spaces, then use the grid fill. Whereas I can use this, boom, to straighten it out because it's, there we go. Whoa, only selected. There we go. Let's see if we can get something with that kind of topology. Just two. So, it's kind of it looks good if it's kind of like the inner mechanism that we are talking about earlier, but not really. So I want it to be stable. So let's just use this topology and make these really small. So I'm using inset and make it really small. If you're dragging it, and you can make it smaller using the drag, a confirmed operation, and either use this or F9 to bring up the redo panel, much like the operators, the random operators, and then adjust this here. So let's make it really small like that, and use this topology instead. Actually include this. It won't subdivide, but at least this part won't be a hole, and there'll be a face in that area. Okay, now we have the circular topology. And let's see if we can make it better. We can get something here. Let's try 10. And here is 80. Number 2. And fourth layer, increase the depth and increase the panel size. And let's look for something that works. If that works. Um, Wait a minute, this is going to be array, so the user will probably see that, but just in case you want to use it as a single asset, let's add a bit of triangulation, decrease the subdivision. Let's use a radial. Back to walk. Looks like a really complicated lock. Okay, we can work with that, or probably not. Get back to one. Yeah, there we go. Something simple. Okay, should we add cables as well? Probably. Nah. Yeah, cables. Nah. So, Shift GT, sheet smooth. Oh my god. Cloth, sheet smooth, hide. Select the hard surface. And this one, auto smooth. Okay, now we can use, I'm going to use random vertex color, black and white, and just adjust this. So I want to make sure that the cloth has the same color. So selecting all the faces here, using creative flow, pick and pick this color right here. So they have the same gradation of um, gray. Picking this one and this one. Material. Okay, let's append the material from our grunge cloth and grunge metal. This one and this one is going to be cloth. Okay, then hide this. Hide and Shift GT. So Shift G, select similar, and T is type. So select similar. The object selected is mesh. Then it selected meshes. Let's try this. Let's see what it looks like. So dark. Activate HDRI. Oh, looks good already. This one. What's the first one that I? go. We can actually uh wait. wait. Okay, okay. So my noise cancellation uses GPU, so when I'm rendering, my voice will be disrupted. So I'll try and avoid speaking when I'm rendering in the viewport, but sometimes I will forget. So sorry about that. So let's see what it looks like rendered in the viewport. Okay, let's get rid of the lights from or edit the lights shader. So there's a bit of a lag when I'm recording and using the shader editor. Okay, these are the lights. You can just probably turn off, make it smaller. Now let's see the effect of the grunge shaders. This is available in Gumroad and Blender Market as well. The quick dirt, cavity mask, edge mask, and scratches. Let's see what they look like. Those settings are actually perfect. So I'm wanted to see that because the scale of the object has or these values here, the values in Blender has of course certain effects when it comes to how big your object is. Okay, so I wonder if I can optimize. Yeah, I think this is actually not that dense. So let's try and join this into a single object. Extras, join objects to the cylinder. No, we can't join that because this is using um subsurf and uh smoothing that doesn't use any angles. So yeah. What we can do, however, is add an empty and select all the pieces of the set and object. There we go. I think you can also set this. Somebody told me that you can also set multiple objects as a single asset in the uh library in the um what's this called? Asset browser, but I don't know how to do it, so yeah. I think I'll learn how to do it and tell it to you the next video. Shift F1, F1, outliner is Shift F9. Okay, so the way that I'm going to actually array this, let's just use one array. Shift GT, include the parent. So I'm already imagining this like a part of kind of like a bazaar in Star Wars where there's a lot of stores, and this is like hanging just on top of people's head, and you can see it like this. You can actually put camouflage in this. So let's experiment and put a camouflage in this. Think we can use Control T, not UV object, and I think we can use Voronoi. This and color add. Oh, so overlay. Then we're going to adjust the gradation of the color using the color ramp. Let's add a noise texture and then plug the factor to the randomness, and let's see what it looks like. That's actually so. Let's just use that to simulate the to simulate the camo texture. Let's make it look faded by reducing the factor, the mix factor. Yeah, so that's it for this video. So for the first step, again, since you don't have the remove selected yet, just remove the geometry manually after. So this is our conduit. with stuff inside, and there's really no stuff inside. We just simulated object collection to make it look like there's something inside. See, really good. Okay, so yeah, if you have any questions, make sure to use the comment sections below, and or the links in the description. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.